Okay, video number 2 for the test on March 8th, Chovav Adar Rishon, a week from Wednesday. Okay, we're up to Chet Amud Aleph, the very, very bottom. So the Gemara says, Ifra Hurmuz, she was a important empress. Ime de Shvur Malka, she was the mom of somebody called the Melech Shavor. Shocha Arnake Dinre Lekamit Rav Yosef. She threw a whole bunch of money, an envelope of money in front of Rav Yosef. Amra, and she said to him, Lahave le use it for a great mitzvah. Yatzav Rav Yosef, Yosef was sitting on Ma'ayimba, and he was thinking about this. My mitzvah, what's this great mitzvah she had in mind? He wanted to do the right thing. Amalei Abaye. So Abaye said to Rav Yosef, Tani Rav Shmuel bar Yehuda, since Rav Shmuel bar Yehuda learned a poskin staka ali yitomim, you don't assess tzedakah that from the estate of the yitomim. Afilu the pidyon shvuyim, even for pidyon shvuyim. Shma mina. So we see from this going on to Chet Amud Bet. Pidyon shvuyim mitzvah rabbahi. So apparently the mitzvah rabbah is pidyon shvuyim, and so that's what you should be using the tzedakah for. Amalei Rabba Rabba Mamaris. Rabba said to Rabba Mamaris, Minaha Milta to Amar Rabbanan to pidyon shvuyim mitzvah rabbahi. How did the rabbis come to this conclusion that the pidyon shvuyim is the greatest of all tzedakot? Amalei, so he answered him tichtiv from the pasuk Yirmiyahu. V'hayakim hu elacha ana netzeh. From Marta lehan kol Hashem asher lamavet asher lacherev asher la'ra'av asher l'shevi. So you have this going to be some people going to be killed, mavet, cherev, by the sword, ra'av, by famine, and then shevi, if some people are taken captive. The Amr of Yochanan commented on this pasuk, Kol muchar b'pasuk zeh kashem mechavera. So whatever's listed in the pasuk later is more harder, is more unpleasant, is more the word harsher, is the word than that which is listed before it. Cherev kashem mimavet. No, it was the first thing is mavet, somebody dies. Cherev by the sword is more painful. Ibayt makra. You can say it comes from a pasuk that I know this. You know it from logic. I can tell you logically. I come in avel, but I love come in avel. In one case, the cherev, it's disgusting what happens, whereas mavich is natural death is not as disgusting. Makra, and I could also prove from pasuk Yakar b'nei Hashem. What is what is the greatest thing in the eyes of God? If it just somebody dies a natural death. Ra'av kasha mecharev. To go ahead and to die a famine is much harder than by the sword. Some say it's logical. The cherev is instance, whereas the ra'av is very, very long and drawn out, and it's really very painful. Or I could say from a pasuk from Mecha, that the chalalim, the corpses that died from cherev, were better off than those that died from famine. Shevi kasha mikulam, yet being captive is the worst of all. The kula is no because you have all these things, you don't know how you're going to die. That's a very horrible thing. Okay, going on. Tzad Rabbanan, kupat shal staka nigveit b'shnayim mechalek b'shlosha. The staka, general staka fund of the town had to be collected by 2 people, and yet it was divided up by 3 people. Nigveit b'shnayim had to be 2 people that actually went and did the geviyah and did the collection. Because whenever you're exerting authority on the tzibur, it has to be at least 2 members of the tzibur, 2 members of the community. Where I will say later what authority there was with the geviyah tzedakah, with the collection of tzedakah. It had to be divided with 3 people. The same way, because like a beit din. Same way a beit din of monetary matters had to be at least 3 people. So here you need at least 3 people because they were making very, very important decisions how to allocate the funds. Tamchui, the money which was given for the soup kitchen, the gveit b'shoshla should be collected by a group of 3 people, and also had to be administered and allocated by 3 people. Because they had to be both equal, because we didn't want to have to wait around. With the kupah, it could be from week to week, so you could have the collection Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then on Friday you sit down and you decide how it's going to be allocated. The choy had to be allocated every day, and therefore you needed people there And so the Gviyah and the Chalukah had to be done in equal amounts of people, 3. Tamchui b'chol yom, because the tamchui was something which was done every single day, the soup kitchen. Kupa me'er Shabbat le'er Shabbat. And the general collection fund was from Friday to Friday. Tamchui l'aniyei olam, the soup kitchen had to be open to anybody, even though people came from the outside, from other cities. Kupa l'aniyei ir, but the general tzedakah fund was for your community. V'rasha'im b'nei ha'ir l'asot kupa tamchui, v'tamchui kupa v'l'shanotah l'chol masher yotzah. And that there was permission that the Bnei Ha'ir could go ahead and they could go ahead and shift the funds from the Kupa to Tamchui, from Tamchui to Kupa, and to change it for what they wanted. So here we learned Tosfot, that the Shana, the whole Davar. So if you look at the top Tosfot over here, Al Shana the Chol Badar Yitzu, the Rel Rabbeinu Tam Yichol L'Shanato After the Davar Rishot. It doesn't have to be just for tzedakah. It could be something also which just is a need of the town, like Shomrim of the town. So going to the end of Tosfot, it says, he would take some of the leftover money from the Kupa in order to pay for the Shomrim of the city, people that watch the city, because the idea was when you give it to the Bnei Ha'ir, even though it was allocated for tzedakah, but you're giving it to the Vad. Whatever the Vad does with it is fine, and therefore they can allocate it for other purposes of the city. That's what Rabbeinu Tam did. Not everybody agrees with Rabbeinu Tam. Okay, going on. The Bnei Ha'ir can get together and say, okay, this is going to be a midah. This is what it's going to be, what an amah is. This is what's going to be a tafak is. They can decide on the basis of their own community. Any sort of price, let's say price for bread, price for milk. Today in Israel, this is all controlled by the government. They can also be controlled by the Bnei Ha'ir in science of the Gemara. Schar po'alim means minimum wage. Ulasiya al satan, and also to come into every sort of arrangement which they feel is beneficial for the community. So now the Gemara is going to go and analyze a lot of things in this particular Braita. Amar, which means going back to the Braita and analyzing something we just learned. That if you're going to exercise authority on the community, it has to be done with at least 2 people. How do we know such a halacha? Rav Nachman Amakra says in the pasuk, going to happen soon in the Pasha, Vehem yikhu et hazahav. Sorry, Vehem yikhu et hazahav, and they went ahead and took the gold. When they went to the Mishkan, had to be 2 people that came around and took the various things from whoever was the mitnadev. Shwarahu delavde. You can't go ahead and you can't go ahead and authorize this authority. Ha-hamune mehaman. But the 2 people are very, very much. You could be ma'min even one person. In other words, you can put your trust in one person. You just can't have the shrarot in terms of exercising authority or leading these 2 people. How do we know this? This is going to be a proof to Rachanina. So Amar Rachanina reported to us Ma'aseh. There was the story. Umina Rebbe Shnei Achim ala Kupa. That you could have 2 people, 2 brothers on the Kupa. So in other words, even though 2 brothers we know are pasul le'edot, so the reason why we're having 2 is not because we don't trust them, because it would be a matter of trust. Then you would need 2 separate people. Can have 2 brothers. Then with 2 brothers cannot be witnesses together. They wouldn't be allowed to run the kuppah. So you needed the 2 because you just needed authority of the tzibur. But in terms of ne'emanut, in terms of trusting them, 1 would be enough, and that's why 2 brothers were fine. My sharuta, what sort of authority did they exercise on the tzibur, the kabayit sakah? Rav Nachman, because they had the authority to go ahead and to take mashkana security. If they felt somebody should be giving tzedakah and the person didn't want to, they can actually have the authority to take something of value from that person until the person would come and fork over the cash. Ini is not really around. Vaksiv doesn't say in the pasuk in Yirmiyahu, Vakaratzi al kol chazav, I'm going to punish anybody that's machitz on the tzibur, that puts pressure on the tzibur. V'amrav Yisrael bar Shmuel bar Martha b'shmei Derav, afilu agabei tzedakah, even the gaben tzedakah exercise pressure on the tzibur. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was going to punish them. So how do you can say that they're allowed to do this? Look, Asha, no question. Hadza amir, hadza lo amir. It depends if the person's wealthy. If the person's wealthy, you could be machitz. You can put pressure on them. But if the person really is not of means, then the Gabbai Tzedakah have no permission to pressure them to give over and above that which they're really capable. And the Gemara proves this point. Yihad the Rava, so as we have the story of Rava, Achbei Rav Natzan bar Ami, he forced Rav Natzan bar Ami, who was a wealthy man, b'shakil minei arba me'as zuzei l'tzedakah, and he took from him 400 zuzim for tzedakah. So he used kfiyah. Here we'll have a little bit of extra credit. We learned the Tosfot. Tosfot said over here, asked the question, wait a second. Let's get to Tosfot right over here. Wait a second. We have a klal. B'im tomar, b'perakol basar. Gemara Chulin says, Amar kol misfat aseh matan scharav k'tuva b'tzida ein beitin shel malam muzarin Allah. That if there is a misfat aseh in the Torah, where the Torah puts explicitly what the sachar is for doing this mitzvah, what the reward is for doing this mitzvah, the Beit Din stays out of it. Because if the Torah is already telling you what to do, but the Beit Din has no reason to go ahead and enforce that which is explicit in the Torah. And regarding the mitzvah tzedakah, it says in the Torah, Ki patoach tifach et yachalo, please give tzedakah. And says later in the Pasha, Ki b'glal hazeh, God will give you a bracha. So why is the Beit Din getting involved here, even with Rav Natan? So we have a couple of answers. First answer, that we're talking about over here, they didn't force him by taking a mashkon, but they convinced him. In other words, that was a bidvarim, using the power of words. That's how they got it to give the sakha. The otiretz, let's skip you around. But maybe in this case, the people of the city had agreed to it. That, okay, in this city we allow, it's going to be part of a taknon, part of the regulations of the city, that the Gabbai Tzedakah can go ahead and enforce it by taking things. Even though, halachically, they did not have that authority, that the people in the city decided, for our time, that's what we're going to do. And then they'd be allowed to. Ulurina, according to the Re, he says the b'stakakov and the stuck you're allowed to. Mishum the ipu lav, because in addition to the mitzvah asay of giving tzedakah, there's also mitzvah lo asay of not giving tzedakah. So on that's what they're enforcing. Mitzvah asay they have the bracha for. What is the Beit Din enforcing? That the person should not be transgressed the law of the mitzvah lo asay of not giving tzedakah. And then the last answer, Uritzva Nira, Litzva is one of the Ba'alei Tzvot. So Hada Ein Beit Din Muzarim on Mitzvah Aseh Shematan Schar B'Tzidah. That which we said that the Beit Din doesn't enforce those mitzvot aseh where there's a matan schachar, that they're not going to be punished if they don't enforce it. The Beit Din can enforce anything, even tzedakah. When we say they don't enforce something that has matan schachar, means they're not going to be held accountable if they don't enforce it. But they certainly have the ability to enforce it. We'll stop video 2 right here.